Red Bull could win the Constructors' title as early as Monza, with 11 wins so far this season, a record 12 straight, including Abu Dhabi last year. But the brand's motorsport consultant Dr. Helmut Marko says there's more to come from its Budapest upgrades. Red Bull brought the RB19's final significant upgrade to the Hungaroring, where Verstappen won on Sunday at a canter, his 7th straight win, with no end in sight to his golden run. Esteban Ocon says he's okay after a Turn 1 crash that sent him skyward, broke his seat in two, and saw both Alpines retire, following contact with his teammate Pierre Gasly and instigator Alfa Romeo's Zhou Guanyu. I took off by, 3 meters, 4 meters on the rear wheels. When I landed, there was a big hit, he said. So Lewis Hamilton has revealed his new contract is all but done, with the Brit admitting he'll be already well into it before the end of the season. The 7-time F1 World Champion's new deal has been a huge talking point all season, with the Brit allegedly angling not just to continue racing beyond 2023, but to become a Mercedes ambassador once he decides to hang up his helmet. Hamilton hasn't won in F1 since the 2021 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, but says he's committed to doing so again with the Silver Arrows. I still have 100% faith in this team, and it has taken longer for all of us to get to where we want to be. It is definitely not easy, said the Brit, but I believe we will get there. Former AlphaTauri driver Nyck de Vries broke his silence in the lead-up to Hungary, with the Dutchman admitting it hurts that his dream is over. De Vries was sacked as soon as Daniel Ricciardo proved a swift, reliable replacement during tyre testing for Red Bull at Silverstone, with the Dutch driver unable to match his teammate Yuki Tsunoda on pure pace, and he lagged behind on points after 10 races, 2-0. But there were no ill feelings towards Red Bull or AlphaTauri, despite his former team boss Franz Tost stating he hadn't been prepared for F1 and needed more time testing. Life is not a destination, it's a journey, and sometimes you have to take the hard road to get where you want to be, he said. De Vries is expected to head back to Formula E, where Nissan is said to be considering signing him for the 2023-24 season. Red Bull team boss Christian Horner says 7 laps of Silverstone was all it took for him to be convinced Daniel Ricciardo was up to speed for a reunion with AlphaTauri. Talk in Hungary was dominated by Ricciardo's return, with the Australian ahead of his new teammate Yuki Tsunoda in qualifying and the race. But Horner, in a chat with the sport's official podcast F1 Nation, said his pace at the post-British Grand Prix Pirelli tyre test spoke for itself.
Within his 3rd or 4th lap, he was down to a time that was within a second of what, our drivers were achieving. Then his first proper run, as it were, on tyres that were comparable, you could see, his confidence was growing and growing. And that first lap, or probably what was his 7th lap, of the day, would have put him on the front row of the grid. So was hugely impressive.
Horner also revealed a chat last year with Ricciardo in his hotel room in Mexico was the original spark for his Red Bull return, then as 3rd driver.
It was clear, his options for this year were going to be a bit limited. He just looked pretty broken. And I said, well, why did he come back to Red Bull for 12 months, out of the car predominantly, help us with simulation work and a bit of tyre testing and, just come back into the fold and re-find his passion for the sport, because it was clear that he wasn't enjoying things.
American team Haas is expected to soon announce it's retaining both drivers for 2024, with Nico Hülkenberg over-delivering on expectations. The Hulk has impressed this season, despite 3 years out of the sport, having outscored teammate Kevin Magnussen after 11 rounds 9-2, and set the 2nd fastest Q3 time in Canada. Haas team boss Günther Steiner said he was very happy with the Hulk, but was surprised how quickly he came up to speed after 3 years out, even with 5 super sub races between 2020 and 2022. We knew he was good, but we didn't see that he would be in such good shape immediately, he said. Eponymous team owner Gene Haas is in Europe at the moment and is set to sign the driver's paperwork for 2024. Laurent Rossi's reign as chief executive officer of Alpine is over, with the Frenchman replaced by Philippe Krief and reassigned to special projects linked to transformation of the Renault Group. Rossi was installed in 2021 as Renault reorganized and then rebranded its racing programs, including its F1 team, into sports marque Alpine. But his tenure as the top man at former Grand Prix powerhouse Enstone was characterized by a set of failures, despite Esteban Ocon's win at the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix, including Rossi's initial overambitious management structure, one that lacked an outright team principle, and contract blunders that saw both his 2-time F1 world champion Fernando Alonso and prized young gun Oscar Piastri depart. Rossi's reputation again dived following his meltdown this year in Miami, where he called the team dilettantes and amateurish after 2 straight double non-scores in Australia and Azerbaijan. Krief, Alpine's vice president of engineering and product performance, has replaced Rossi as CEO with immediate effect. F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali has finally asked for the impossible, with a request for the teams to put the sport above their own individual agendas to grow the series long-term. F1 has long been known as the Piranha Club, given its history of brutal business dealings and political machinations. But Domenicali says that a more peaceful, collaborative approach is needed. Though it may be a pipe dream, with 2022's cost cap findings ahead. We need the teams to understand that there are interests that go beyond winning or losing the race on Sunday. We are getting there, and I am optimistic, he said. Ferrari team boss Frédéric Vasseur says that stability and the challenge of developing tires with limited testing should not be underestimated when the FIA decides between Pirelli and Bridgestone as F1's sole supplier from 2025 to 2027. Pirelli has supplied F1 since 2011, with product changes in 2014 for the hybrid power unit, wider tires in 2017, and lower-profile 18-inch rubber from 2022 for more road relevance. Bridgestone last supplied the F1 grid from 1997 to 2010. But while Vasseur says he has faith in both firms, he recognizes that it would be an uphill battle for Bridgestone. We have to remember that it's not an easy challenge, especially considering that eventually it will not be straightforward to provide them with a test program to develop the product, he said. Ex-Williams driver Nicholas Latifi has decided to turn his back on racing, having signed to do his MBA at the prestigious London Business School. Latifi raced in F1 with Williams from 2020 to 2022 and scored just 9 points over 3 seasons, though he was outshone by the sport's rising stars George Russell and Alex Albon. Latifi says that he's always had a keen interest in business, with his father billionaire businessman Michael Latifi, and that his racing exit has allowed him to accelerate his shift. But while his MBA studies are set to begin in August, Latifi isn't hanging up his helmet and race suit just yet. This is not necessarily a goodbye to the racing world forever, he wrote in a social post. Racing has been my life since the age of 13 and is still something I am extremely passionate about. F1 cars are set to return to the iconic Australian Mount Panorama circuit in November, with an open-wheel cavalcade now planned as part of the Bathurst International event. The open-wheel cavalcade will include cars from a range of categories, including F1, IndyCar, and Formula Renault 3.5 V8. The last time F1 cars graced the Mount Panorama track was in February, when Red Bull reserve driver Liam Lawson piloted the 2011 title-winning V8-powered RB7 at the Bathurst 12-hour event. Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.